Okay, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Can I hear everyone say a hello? Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Firstly, before I introduce myself, I want everyone to raise their right hand. Your right hand, right hand. Put it on your back and pat yourself for being on time. Very, very well done. I'm serious. Pat yourself for being punctual and taking your seat. Thank you so much. Much, much appreciated. So good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, all our distinguished guests, the wonderful lineup of speakers that we have for today, and all you amazing, incredible professionals who are present in the house. I am Sukhmini Lamba, your host for this amazing event, and it gives me immense pleasure to accord you all a very, very warm welcome. It's amazing to see such a great turnout in front of me. You all look absolutely fabulous, and I'm really looking forward for having a great, entertaining, memorable evening with all of you. With this, can I just request everyone to just rise wherever you are? Just quickly, everybody, can you just stand up? Thank you so much. Okay, I know it's the second half of the day. We have probably just had lunch. Who all have just had lunch? किसी ने नहीं खाया खाना? सब ऐसे ही आ गए. इतनी eagerness. Somebody at the back. Yes, people have had lunch. I request you to please join us with your chai and coffee and the cookies. You need them to keep going. किसने lunch किया? Who all had lunch? हाँ जी? सबने lunch किया है ना? Very good. So I'm just going to do a little recharge with you to just shake off the energy. Everybody put your hands up in the air. सबके हाथ ऊपर. आपको क्या करना है? You just have to jiggle down and release your body as much as you can. I'll show it to you, and you have to make a sound. जैसे बच्चे करते हैं ना? Okay. I am serious. हाँ जी? शाम को करेंगे. अभी थोड़ा शुरुआत में भी कर लेते हैं, बाद में थोड़ा और कर लेंगे. अच्छा वो डांस फ्लोर पे करेंगे. I will be looking forward to all your moves over there. But right now, everybody just hands up. Shake your hands, shake, 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 and go 1, 2, 3. Not bad, not bad. One more time. Hands up in the air. And 1, 2, 3. All right. Can I please have a huge round of applause for all of you? Wonderful people in the house. Please have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to Elite CISOs Presents Enterprise Security Summit 2024. Can we please have a huge round of applause? Enterprise Security Summit is a culmination of a murky of security professionals across all industry verticals, with its key intent to come together for collaboration, for sharing the best practices in the industry, and of course to have a lot of fun, to get a little respite from the burnout. So we are going to make sure that there is going to be a lot of sharing, some very thought-provoking sessions, amazing discussions, and we want to make this a fun, entertaining evening for you. Without any further ado, there is a couple of information, certain instructions, a few things that I would like to share with all of you, so please pay attention. We have a range of activities today, and we all want you to really participate in full strength. First of all, we have a social media contest going on live today. So what we need you to do, there is a barcode on the table. There is a barcode, you can scan the agenda, and on the other side, there are hashtags, you can tag, you can post. So what we need you to do is whatever learnings that you've had or you're attending the summit today, you can go online, post your pictures. It's going to add up to certain points for you, which will eventually add on to a mega giveaway, which we are going to have at the end of the summit. So that's first thing. So please get onto your phones, get onto social media, and do post away your day going over here with whatever that you feel like adding, your thoughts, ideas, pictures. That would be one thing. दूसरी चीज, आप सबको एक बैग मिला? अरे नहीं मिला? नहीं मिला? Please ले लो sir. There is a bag for everybody. उसमें दो बहुत important चीजें हैं. There is a name tag, which I think you all have got. Please keep this name tag with you. आपको हर moment में आज इसकी ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. Most important, food and drinks, you're going to need it. We just want to make this a smooth and a convenient event for you. So please keep those securely. Secondly, आपके bag में there is going to be a booth visiting card. So us card ko, whenever we have the in-between breaks, please do visit all the booths outside, have an interaction with the sponsors, and you can get your booth visiting card stamped. इसमें भी एक twist है, जितने maximum stamps होंगे, there is a giveaway for that also. So you could win an exciting prize. So do get all the stamps, do post on social media, and then finally, there's more coming. We have the mega giveaway, which will happen at the end of our summit. So we have a grand prize, which is an electric scooter. I myself have been very, very excited about this. It has been sponsored by KH Digitech. अब इतना grand prize है तो थोड़ा सा उसके लिए we'll have to do some work for it. तो हमने क्या किया है? We have designed for you the Cyber Grandmaster Challenge. The Cyber Grandmaster Challenge. ये एक quiz है. It's in the format of a quiz. Difficult नहीं है. General knowledge class में नहीं जाएंगे हम लोग. There will be a list of questions, पर हमने उनको break up कर दिया है. So between 2 sessions, we'll take a break. I'll come on stage. Screen पे 2 सवाल आएंगे. There will be a barcode. आप उसको scan करिए. Get onto your phone. There will be 2 questions. Please answer those 2 questions. ऐसे ही सिलसिला चलता रहेगा. Between 2 sessions, there will be a quiz of 2 questions. जिसके maximum answers होंगे correct answers. Those points will also add up to your mega prize, which is the electric scooter. तो हर तरीके से आपको points बटोरने हैं जब तक हमारी शाम चलेगी to be able to win the mega prize. Are you with me? Yes? समझ आ रहा है सबको? मैं काफी सारी information दे रही हूँ. I know we have so much going on today, so I want कि maximum participation हो. So that is the thing. And एक और चीज है, last thing, we have the Wheel of Fortune for everybody, जिसमें हमारे पास और भी छोटे-छोटे बहुत सारे prizes we will be giving away. That is a complete stroke of luck. There will be there will be a wheel which will come on the screen. We're just going to run it. We're going to play it, and let's see who is going to be the lucky winner of some very, very exciting gadgets. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience and listening to all that I gave you. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I really would like you all to put your hands together to welcome on stage the very, very charismatic, the dynamic Mr. Vikas Arora, founder, Elite CISOs. Can we please have you on stage to officially open the summit and address this wonderful gathering?
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Come on. And it still feels very weird to say good afternoon, right? I'm either used to saying good morning in elite knowledge sessions or good evening in the evening roundtables, right? So I'm continuing with all the exercises that Sukhmani asked you to do. So raise your hand if you were here in the past summit. Just raise your hand. So almost 70% people, right? Okay, lower your hands down. If it is your very first summit, please raise your hand. About 40%, right? How did you hear about Elite CISO? Anyone? The new persons, right? How did you get to know about Elite CISO? Anybody raise hand here? LinkedIn, very nice. So LinkedIn is a powerful tool, right? If you look at the agenda, right? The initial welcome is from 3 p.m. till 3:15 p.m. And we are going to be very, very specific and very, very punctual when it comes to the time. And we started our summit at what time? 3 p.m., right? And what time we were supposed to start? 3 p.m., right? So give a big round of applause just for being on time, starting this kind of summit, right? Thank you very much. So I've been told that I have got only 2-3 minutes and I've got about 2 slides only, right? So I will not bore you with my long slides. I will leave it up to the partners for that, right? The death by PowerPoint, they will do that. I'm not gonna do it. So the question that I get basically is how Elite CISO started. Even today I get this question, and it has been about 7-8 years we started this platform, okay? The answer to that is this. So hackers collaborate. Why CIOs and CISOs, we do not collaborate? So I have been going to Black Hat in Las Vegas from past about 16-17 years. Last year I did not go there, I went to RSA. 17-18 years being in Black Hat, and one theme was very, very common over there. They are saying hackers are collaborating from very beginning, but CIOs and CISOs are not collaborating. How hackers are collaborating? Somebody sitting in Russia is writing a malware. somebody is deploying it on the ATM machine over here, somebody else is clicking the button and the ATM is throwing away the money, somebody else is collecting the money. They have got the entire cycle going for them, right? But as a CIO CISO, we were not collaborating enough. So we thought, okay, why not we start collaborating in India? Why not we build this forum where CIOs and CISOs can collaborate? So how did it started? It started with something with Dell, right? With Dell Technologies, I was doing an India-wide tour and I was conducting technical workshops across India. So all the cities that you see over here, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, we conducted all these sessions. Now to collaborate, what do you need? You need people to collaborate, right? If you do not have people, who will you collaborate with? So after these sessions, I told people that we are forming Elite CISO chapter. Would you like to become a member of Elite CISO? And then people said yes. That's how the journey started. We did that session in Delhi as well with Dell. Is there anybody in the room who attended that session? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's how the journey started. And 2018 was a great time. Why? Because GDPR was coming along. And GDPR had lot of concerns across India, right? Across the world rather. And CIO and CISOs were asking a lot of questions in our groups. Okay, what is PII? What is not PII? Am I covered or not? So that's how all the collaboration started happening. And we were building large groups. There were hundreds of people getting added into the groups. And they started posting different things in the group. They were posting fitness messages. They were posting party messages and all those things. So we realized that, okay, collaboration is good, right? You are collaborating on knowledge, you are collaborating on content and everything, but people are much more passionate about other things as well. We did not want people to post junk on our WhatsApp groups. But what we realized, that people are passionate about life, right? They want to celebrate. That's how the concept of all these subgroups started. So we have a very active Elite Fitness group. How many are member of fitness group? So many people, right? So we talk about fitness. During COVID, we did online yogas, online sessions on fitness and health. We had Elite Wealth group. How many are members? And you are not making any money out there, right? Are you? So wealth group is to get the ideas about wealth, where to invest, what to do and all. Then we have Elite Travel and Elite Foodies group. People are passionate. They travel and they post in the group that, okay, I am today in Barcelona, I am traveling in Australia. And you get inspired that why not, I'll also go there. And somebody posted a mango festival picture from Lucknow. So I said, okay, yes, I will go and attend that sometime. That's how these two pillars got together, the connect and collaborate, and unknowingly, by doing Elite Fit, Elite Wealth, Elite Travel, we were doing something which is called celebration, right? This was the third pillar. So connect, collaborate, and celebrate. Yes, we do celebrate, okay? And how's the celebration? Look at this middle picture. This is from the New Year event that we do. Has anybody attended this event? It is such a fun event, isn't it? What do you guys say? It is the end of the year Elite Connect where we invite our partners, our members, and we do networking. That's what the intent of this event is. And that's from Pattaya. So Elite Fit completed, we take different challenges in our Elite Fit, right? We completed 333 days of fitness challenge and we went to Pattaya to celebrate. Pattaya, why Pattaya? That's a different question. And what did we celebrate? Again, is a different question. But again, this Pattaya trip, there were about 57 people, 57 CIO CISOs who attended. It was not a sponsored event. 55 CIO CISOs paid their own money and they went to Pattaya to celebrate, right? So this is something new in the industry. Most of the time what you see is that, okay, vendor sponsored event is there, you are going to Istanbul and all and celebrating. But people are genuinely interested into celebration of life. That's what we do. How many people went to Thailand? Please do not raise your hand. Right? You are not supposed to do it. And then this year we have taken a challenge of 355 days of fitness. That means out of 365 days, 355 days you have to do some kind of activity, whether it is running, walking, swimming, yoga, whatever, you got to do that and post it in the group. And to celebrate that, we are going to Baku. Again, nothing is vendor sponsored, everybody has paid their own money and already booked, right? We are going in September. By end of February, 100 people had paid and said that, yes, we are going. How many out of this room are going to Baku? You can raise your hand. Baku is a nice place, right? So see, how many people are going? Great. Thank you very much, guys. So we'll celebrate over there. Celebration is fine, but the core focus of Elite CISO has been knowledge sharing, right? There are different chapters across India and we ask different questions, whatever we are facing a challenge with, right? If a CISO is facing a challenge in terms of, let's say, whether this Aadhaar number is considered as PII or not, you put that question and you get the answer then and there itself. The knowledge sharing has been to an extent, when we started in 2018, people had no clue what is EDR, XDR. Antivirus everybody knew. And now after 5 years, you look at the industry, everybody knows what is XDR, EDR. Okay? Some part of the knowledge is being shared in the WhatsApp groups in terms of how much is CrowdStrike costing you for your XDR or MDR service. Can you share the pricing? It is that open, right? So you can get to know what is being offered. And again, lot of insight around how did you implement zero trust, how are you taking care of passwordless, all that information is being shared. Am I still on time? 1 minute late. I'll just rush it. 45 elite knowledge sessions in past 1 year. From past July till this July, 45 plus elite knowledge session. That means the Thursday webinars that we do. How many weeks are there in a month? In a year? 52. Out of 52 weeks, consider 45 weeks, we have done these sessions and it is a wealth of knowledge which is there. All these sessions are recorded and posted on Elite CISO YouTube channel. So you can go through it, you can pass it to your team members, right? The focus has always been on knowledge, whether it is sharing in terms of webinars or doing a session with our partners. So the focus still is knowledge going forward, but there is one pillar that we want to build. And that pillar is, apart from your connect, collaborate and celebrate, that pillar is charity, right? That is something we have not been doing. I think God has been grateful, God has been nice on us. We are sitting over here in a comfortable AC room, but there are a lot of people who are not that fortunate, but we are in a power to help them. So going forward in 24, 25, you will see focus on knowledge, but charity is something we are going to build. Going forward, we do a very little bit in terms of Elite Donate during Diwali and all, but next year, there is going to be a very, very focused efforts towards building Elite Donate, okay? And today also you will see a glimpse of it. Ashish, Manu Bhai, they are helping with this initiative, okay? All this wouldn't have been possible without your support and our partners and vendor support. So really, thank you very much for that. Let's enjoy the conference. Thank you very much, guys. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vikas Arora, for a very warm welcome. And without further ado, I would like to welcome our keynote speaker for the day. She is a trusted personal finance writer, speaker and author who helps families get their money decisions right. She is the founder of Dhan Chakra Financial Education and the best-selling author of Let's Talk Money. She is an adjunct professor at Banasthali Vidyapeeth, Rajasthan. She is the chairperson of SEBI's Advisory Committee for Investor Protection and Education Fund. She will share with us some practical tips and strategies for financial planning, risk management, and future-proofing your finances. We feel this is an invaluable opportunity to gain tools to manage your money wisely and enhance your financial well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please give a warm welcome to Miss Monica Hullen.
You know, waiting for you to discover the book, from a lot of the expressions, I realized that this was a subject which was a little unknown. The minute the word money comes in, you think of stock markets. What are the stock markets doing right now? They're very active, right? We touched 80,000 Sensex yesterday, I think probably today also. So the minute you see a book on money, you think about markets, you think of return, you think about getting rich quickly. So I'm going to manage your expectations right away and tell you that my entire work, which is writing books, talks, is not to get you rich fast, It is not Maggi noodles, but a very slow cook. There is a long road ahead of building financial stability. So I don't promise overnight wealth, but I promise control over your money, a system which you put in place, a little bit of attention that you give from all the busy lives that you have. Your profession takes over, I can understand that, and that is true for everybody. But is it possible to build a system? And you're all systems people. What is a good system? Something that you spend a lot of time thinking about when you set it up, right? How difficult is it to change a system midway? It's difficult, right? The software, it's a very difficult thing to change something when it's running. So what do good companies do? They will spend a lot of time in R&D in getting the model right. Finance is very similar. We have to work very hard in getting the basic fundamental right in your portfolio, and then you only have to look at it twice a year. Rest of the time, it is working in the background. It is using the money that you're saving to make it grow. So that's the overall idea of what I do. And I also see a lot of, especially when you go out to an evening and people ask you what you do, and I say, I write about money, I understand stock markets, I understand data. So the minute the word money comes in, there is a little bit of a pushback. Because somewhere I think we are all a little uncomfortable with money. I don't think we discuss it at home. It's not something we discuss with our children. A lot of times the women don't discuss it, it is something that the men do. And I want you to understand that not discussing money has very deep roots in our history. We were a traditionally poor country, and there was no hope of ever getting rich through the invasions and through colonization. So when a people have no hope of ever becoming rich, generation after generation, they put poverty on a moral high ground, on a pedestal. So what do we say? Evil rich, we call it Hath Ka Mail. We look down upon people with money. So there is an inbuilt cultural hesitation in standing up and saying, I want to be rich, and being dignified about it. We are a little hesitant about our relationship with money. And that's one of the things that I've set out to solve. I have worked in this space for decades. I think I understand money, and I think I understand the emotions which go into this whole thing around money, because money is a force, it's power. Who are the powerful guys in organizations? It's the finance guy. In the families, who are the powerful people? He or she who holds the purse strings. They are the people. No, so she is a very easy thing to say, and I heard that she, which is fine, but mostly, and this is to the women out there, most of the women will look after the household finances, the groceries, the bills. The assets are typically built by men. Is that correct? The assets are typically built by men. When the decision is in thousands, it's the woman. But when the decision is in lakhs, it's usually the man. So yes, the women do handle money, but when it is large amounts of money long term, it usually is the men who handle the money. So the conversation is about both. It's gender equal. Women do extremely well in finance. But the thing that I'm talking about today is I want to give you very specific things that you can do. The book will help you rethink your lives about money. The problem is we don't take the decision to put order into a financial life. By just consolidating your financial life, you're already a step ahead. We have what I call asset bleed, which means we keep buying a little bit of this, little bit of that, little bit of property, little bit of stocks, some crypto, some this, some that. There is no big picture plan in a portfolio. A portfolio has to reflect your age, stage, risk appetite goals. It's very much like a business plan for a company which has to have its goal marked out, the future marked out. Similarly, your personal finances need a structure and a plan. One of the things, and I will just give you, I can speak for like 2 hours on this, but I think I have only 15 minutes, and I'm going to take some questions from you for sure. The first thing that you people have to do is you have to put what I call the cash flow system in place. We understand that companies have cash flow systems, but in our personal lives, we need a cash flow system. What is that? We mix up our spending and our saving decisions. The money sits in a bank, out of which we are spending. Just to separate your spending from your saving is a very powerful tool. And this is something that literally thousands of people have come back and told me. Because what I recommend is a 3 bank account system, which is that your income drops into one account, you call it the income account. So some of you might be, you might have a job, you might be working on the weekends, there could be several sources of income. Whatever money comes into your life, it drops into one bank account. How many people make budgets here? Very brave, because it's literally a very boring exercise. You begin, but then you fall off after a few months. I have another way to look at that. Do we know approximately how much we spend every month? Yes? We know approximately, right? So suppose your income is 100, can we say that 60 rupees you will spend? Can you take that decision? Each person will be different. That decision you can take, that I will spend 60 rupees out of my 100 income, or 70 or 80, you cannot spend 110, right? Being in debt is a very humiliating thing. We don't want to go there. So that decision you take at the top of the month, that I'm going to spend 70. 70 rupees you transfer to a second bank account. You call it my spend it account. Any spending that you do that month, you only do from that account. XYZ Bank, your UPI is on that, your credit card is on that, any spending. How much is left? 30 rupees, 40 rupees, 20, whatever. You put it into a third bank account and you call it my invest it account. We are not starting to invest. We are simply starting to collect money which we have not spent. You do it for 6 months, just try it out for 6 months. You will message me on my social media handles, one comment. I did not know I could save this much money. Okay? Simply because you have segregated your spending and your saving. One way to do it is to save what is left, but you can flip it and say, I will save 30 rupees and I will spend all the rest. So you make savings a target, and then what else does it do? It gives you guilt-free spending. Once I've met my 30 rupees or 20 rupees or 40 rupees, you have to personalize this system. Once you do that, then you can actually spend the entire 70 guilt-free, right? At the end of the month, you see 10 rupees is still left. You can go for a holiday, you can, whatever else you want to buy. So it makes you enjoy your money today. Because remember that it is equally about today as it is about tomorrow. You will all reach the retirement age, okay? When you are in your 30s and 40s, you don't think that you will ever retire, but you will. At age 60, you should not look back and say, I should have taken a break. I should have spent a little bit on myself. I should have indulged myself. We all have so many responsibilities of parents, of children, of our just, rent, EMI, all of that. But when you do this 3-account system, that opportunity for guilt-free spending will arise. So my recommendation, you try it out. It is a very important first step. Okay, I'm not even talking of investing. And then I want to come to the thing which will probably interest most of you, which is retirement. Okay, so there is a whole process in the middle where you set goals and all that. But I want to talk to you today about retirement. This is this big, hairy, distant goal, and we don't know how much we will need. And I will give you some numbers. And we don't know how to invest for that. We all have provident funds. We all do something. We buy real estate. Real estate is a difficult asset. I'm not a big real estate fan. Is there a way to build long-term growth of your money. One route is equity, stocks. I don't recommend FNO. I don't say that you should day trade. I don't say that you should do direct stock investing. Okay, there is a way to get an equity exposure to your money while being still safe. Okay, so is there a way to stay safe and yet get the growth? What kind of growth am I talking about? So I just did these numbers today. We all understand compounded annual growth rates, CAGR. Oh, so the rate of growth every year if the money compounds. So over a 30-year period, we all know Bombay Stock Exchange Index, Sensex, BSE Sensex, okay, which is the 30 stock index, which tells you the price level of 30 companies on an average. If you have invested in that over 30 years, starting, we are in 24, so 1994, it's given about a 10.5% annual return, 10.5. 20 years return is almost 15% a year. And a 10-year return is 12%. Now, these are just numbers. We don't, intuitively, we don't understand. But let me tell you. So imagine that you were investing 1 lakh rupees for 20 years, every year. 1 lakh rupees a year is possible to invest? Yes? I think so, right? 1 lakh rupees a year, I'm sure with your skills you can invest. If you invested it for 20 years at 14%, at the end of it, you would have 91 lakh rupees. Okay, so 1 lakh rupees invested every year in the Sensex, in the market index, not direct stocks, not trading, just the index, you would have 91 lakh. But suppose you were doing 5 lakh for 20 years, every year 5 lakh. That would give you 4.5 crore. Is that an interesting number? 4.5 crore? It is an interesting number. It makes you think, and how much has it taken? It's taken me 5 lakh rupees a year for 20 years. 20 years right now sounds like a large number, but 20 years gets by very quickly. I'm on the other side of this age population. It gets over the professional, this 30s and 40s gets over very quickly because there's so much going on. Your danger is not investing in equity. Your danger is not taking the power that equity can give you. And the chapter on equity will tell you why equity. Okay, what is it about the stock market which allows your money to grow in this manner? But there is a science to investing in the stock market. We want a lower risk way to put our money to work long term. How do we do that? Like I said, you don't do FNO. Look, out of 100 rupees, if you are playing with 5 or 10, that's fine. Are you playing with your entire 100 on cryptos and FNO and day trading? That's dangerous. So if you can put 90 out of 100 that you're investing into this safer route to equity, with the 10 rupees, you can do whatever, day trading, FNO, crypto. I'm not a crypto fan, okay? And this is a room full of techies. We don't know where that goes. But I know where the market goes if the country continues to grow at 7. How do we predict market growth, index growth? It's the real GDP plus inflation plus a bit more, okay? Real GDP plus inflation plus a bit more. What is 7% growth GDP? Let's say 5% inflation. What number are we looking at? 7 and 5? And then a little more. So when we predict markets, we're saying the Indian index should return between 12 to 14% a year. Short term, it crashes, it rises. Over this long period of time, I have to tell you, when I started working long time ago, 91, do you know what the markets were at? They were at 1,400. Sensex value was 1,400, 1,400. I have seen the markets 5,000, 10,000, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, now 80. And every time the market goes up, people will say it will crash. Of course it crashes. But then it picks itself up and rises again. Why does it rise? It's not a gambling den long term. It rises because the companies are making profits. You're all a company people. Where do these profits reflect? In the stock price. So should you get the benefit of this rise in prices in a growing economy? You absolutely should. Because what is your other rate of return that you're getting? You're getting a bank FD rate. Insurance policies are terrible products for investment. Do you know the long-term real estate growth number? What does it grow at? It's location specific. It's like buying a single stock. The average, the index number is 9%. Real estate index, which the RBI publishes, is 9%. So when you want an inflation plus, tax plus return number, you have to commit a part of your money to equity. But before you do that, you have to put some seat belts on. Okay, you've got to secure. So you need to secure your present before you can commit money for the future, right? Because if there's a problem today and markets crash, you don't want to redeem that money. This is money I'm not going to touch. How do I secure my today? I have told you about the cash flow system, okay? That's your first step. The first financial product you build is called an emergency fund. How many people here have an emergency fund? Fantastic. The rest of you, at least 6 months of your monthly expenses. At least 6 months. Where do you put it? Fixed deposits is fine, okay? There's no shame to put your shorter term money in a fixed deposit. That's fine. A lot of influencers make us feel ashamed to use FDs. Don't do that. FD long term is not optimal, but an FD for an emergency fund is fantastic product. So see, when you choose the products, match it to your need. Okay, the product has to work for the reason that you have bought it. There is a reason every product should be in your portfolio, and that reason will define the kind of product that you buy. Right? So first you've done your cash flow system, then you build your emergency fund, then you buy insurances. Health insurance, how many people have here? Mostly, very good. Your own or just the company? Personal? Both. That's great. This is something that, you know, we have been communicating for such a long time that you must absolutely have your own health insurance policy. Life insurance is only for the principal breadwinner. The only kind of life insurance policy you buy is called a pure term plan. Do not buy traditional money back ULIP policies. They do not work for you. They work for the agent. Do you know how much of commission they get? They are allowed to get in the your first premium. 10%. How much are they allowed to get? Go higher. They are allowed to get 100% of your first premium. Did you know that? They are allowed to. So, because a lot of companies deduct their own costs and pay the agents very high commissions out of your first premium, do you know if you discontinue the policy in its second year, how much do you get back? Zero. Somebody said that. Zero. Did the rest of you know that? You've bought a traditional money back, whole life endowment, whatever nonsense they call it. You've bought that plan, the agent has chased you, somebody in your relative or friends has chased you, the banker has chased you, right? Now you know why they chase you? Because they are getting that fat commission. They don't tell you that if you don't continue with this plan and you surrender it after 1 year, one premium, the regulator allows them to deduct all of your premium. You get zero back. You fund the policy for 5 years, and you don't pay the 6th premium. How much do you get back? Half. It's a capital loss. We're not even talking of a return, basis point return loss. You don't get back half your money. So they sell you these policies saying 5 saal acha hai, uske baad naya policy. But what do you get back? Nothing. You lose half your capital. It's better to be in a fixed deposit rather than commit your money. So who makes money? The agent makes money, the bank makes money, the insurance company makes money, and you will make money if you're invested in a life insurance company through an index fund because it reflects in their profits. This money, this policyholder money, becomes the profit of the life insurance company. So please relook at your portfolios. If you have these products, if you've just bought it, it makes sense to get out of it. If you have 2 or 3, 4 years left, complete it, at least you'll get some return. You know, the returns are between 2 to 4%. They're not great returns. So don't waste your money on life insurance policies and as investment. Use it for protection. And I am saying that you buy a life insurance policy before you invest. I like life insurance. I don't like life insurance when it's bundled with investment. It messes up your finances. It doesn't give you the true picture of what your return is. How do they sell these policies? 1 lakh ka 5 lakh ho jayega. We understand bank interest. We know 5%, 6%. Why can they not tell us what is the percentage return? So if you want to ask the agent, ask the banker, what is the percentage return that I will get? They will never give you a correct answer. Ask them to write it down and sign. They'll give you a verbal answer. The minute you ask them to write down this number and sign with his agent code, he's going to run away. So if you are afraid of something, you can't commit to it. What does the bank has? It has rates displayed, FD rates. Does an insurance company do that? No. They tell you 1 lakh ka 5 lakh. I mean, 1 lakh ka 5 lakh over 30 years is no return. 1 lakh ka 5 lakh tomorrow is a lot of return. So this is maths. So we are trying to put seatbelts on before we commit our money to equity. Cash flow, emergency, health insurance, pure term life insurance, how much? At least 10 times of your annual income, which is a very large number, right? If you do a 10 lakh salary, then you're looking at 1 crore of insurance. For a 30-year-old, a pure term plan costs 8 to 10,000 rupees a year only. Okay? Agent doesn't sell it because their commission levels are very low. So you'll have to Google it a bit, or it's clearly there in the book. So as you can make out, the insurance industry is not very fond of me because I tell these truths about what works for you, what works in your favor. So we are trying to put in seatbelts here. What you do next is also very important. We look at investing as a black box. Ki 2 lakh dalna hai, 1 lakh dalna hai. And you don't know for how long. The product that you choose will depend on how long you want to hold that investment for. Okay? So split your investment into short, medium, and long term. The short-term investments are not in equity. Not a single rupee of money that you need within 3 years do you put into equity. Okay, so equity investing is a science. If you follow the rules, you will make money long term. If you don't follow the rules, you will lose money for sure. The rules are there in my book of how to stay safe with your seatbelts on using equity. Okay, so when you learn to swim, you cannot go to the deep end without learning. Look at finances in a similar way. If you learn to use equity, it will be your partner in wealth creation. It will give you financial freedom. It will give you very long-term growth of your money. If you get greedy or fearful, it will not work for you. So we all do yoga, physical body. This is money yoga. This is really, you have to mentally distance yourself from both fear and greed. Okay, so you're splitting your goals into short, medium, and long term. It is the long-term goal for which you use equity, money that you don't need for 7 years or more. Okay? That is the money that you commit to equity so that, why 7 years? Back-tested data, economic cycles, there's huge literature and data on that. 7 to 10 years is what we say. Typically, this is your retirement money, which you're not going to touch. But if you have, again, 100 rupees, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. 1/3 for short term. We all have short term needs, whether it's a school admission, a holiday, a down payment, medium term goals, 3 to 7 years. Beyond 7 years, you start putting money in equity. Okay, so that's how you approach equity. What is the product you use? So my recommendation for retail investors is to use the mutual fund route. The mutual fund product has been, over the last 15 years, beaten into shape by the regulator. And I can say that because I have worked in the different regulatory committees to ensure that the product doesn't mislead you, that there isn't fraud in the product, that they are not able to cheat you. So I told you what the commissions were, right, when you buy insurance? What is the commission when you buy, what is the front commission when you buy a mutual fund? What does the agent get from your money? If 100 rupees is you are investing in insurance, in the first year, 0 gets invested. How much in a mutual fund gets invested? Anybody? All 100 rupees gets invested. See, that's what regulatory action is so important. They have taken the front commission away. The agent earns through the trail commission. Only if you stay in the product, from the expense ratio, you are not paying anything. So mutual funds, it's called a net asset value, the price of the mutual fund. There's gross, there's net. What is the difference? The expense. SEBI puts limits on this expense, on how much the mutual fund can deduct from your money. Of this money, between 50, half a percentage point, to about 80 bips is given to the agent. Okay? If you know how to do this yourself, there's something beautiful called a direct plan, where you don't even pay this. It's a commission-free product. A lot of high net worth investors go direct. I am not recommending it for everyone because good financial planners add huge value. If you can do it yourself, if you have the ability to create a portfolio, please do it yourself. If you don't, use a good planner who will earn money through the commission, which comes out of the expense ratio, not out of your money directly, indirectly from the expense ratio, which the mutual fund is deducting, right? So the product is actually retail ready. A lot of work has happened to ensure that the mutual funds are unable to cheat you. They can do it in many ways. Some scams will always happen, but I think 90% they've taken the monkey out of the product. So mutual funds is a very, very large space. The only one thing for people who are starting to invest now, a lot of you might be in small caps, PSUs. These are all flavors of the year. Be very careful. What is your first product? As a person who doesn't understand mutual funds, did you know how many categories there are? There are 16 categories of mutual funds. If you didn't know that, and out of these categories, you have to choose 3 or 4 which suit you. Out of these categories, then you choose a fund. If you did not know this, then the product that you have to buy is called an index fund. These are index funds, mimic the Sensex or the Nifty 50. These are broad market indices. You don't get supernormal returns, but you don't lose money long term. I've read out the rates of return of the Sensex. Nifty is similar over 10, 20, 30 years. That's the average that you get. What is the advantage? It's like aspirin. It's a commodity. It doesn't matter who runs the fund, almost. Because they are not picking stocks. They are mimicking the stocks in the index. There's no stock picking decision that the index fund manager is doing. She is just mimicking the index. So your return is the index return. And that's a very safe way to go long term. Only when you build capacity do you start managed funds. All right, your first mutual fund product. And what do you look for? You take it down, you can Google it. It's a low expense ratio and a low tracking error. 2 things. Google it later. How do you choose? Low tracking error and low expense ratio. Those are the 2 things for an index fund. You can start with just a broad market, but as you grow in your investment journey, you will make a portfolio. 50% will be large cap, 25% each mid and small cap. Take it down, Google it later. You can use indexing strategy for all of it. If you want to target a higher return and you're able to, you can do active funds. Don't buy funds because somebody is recommending them. Don't, small cap चल रहा है अभी खरीदो. वो निकल चुका है small cap. वो growth हो चुकी है उसमें. But if it is a part of your portfolio, then you're holding a certain percentage always. You see, don't buy and sell. Don't get into the product and get out. Imagine that you are planting a tree and you will eat the fruits of it, you will never uproot the tree. I call them forever funds. They are going to partner you in your entire life, and this is your bequeath to your kids. So think always about breaking the fruit out and not uprooting the tree for your long-term goals. Okay, so that's the way that you get this kind of return. What I said, 5 lakh invested for 20 years, every year 5 lakh rupees, has given you really 4.55 crore over the last 20 years. And I'm going to do one last, I have 10 minutes left. I want to do one last number intervention on how much do you need for your retirement. It's a very touchy subject. It looks like a very large number. It is a very large number because we're all living longer. Do you know how much an average Indian lived when we got independence? Anyone? 44? Anyone else? You know, it's a very pathetic, shameful 32. That is how bad we were. At 32 was our average age at independence. What is it today? 72. 80 is, see, 80 is urban families where the elderly can be looked after. So the minute there is elder care, my father lives with me, he's 88, and he's in good health. Okay, so where there is elder care, we see people living well into their 90s, but at an average, because see, India is still, we're still a poor country. A lot of people don't have access to elder care, health care, nahi hota hai. 72, but despite that, 72 for a country like India is, I think it's commendable. So you will all live well into your 80s and 90s. If you're retiring at 60, how many years do you have to cater for? At least 30? I would say do till 100. I would rather have more money than less when I'm 90. Do we have grandparents who may not have income? In some houses, do we know what their condition is? So there's both ways. You look after, some people don't. I will say very hard and cruel things. But money decides in a lot of households how people are treated. You don't want to be in a position where lack of money, when you're 70, 80, 90, allows people to mess with you. So it's important. So how much do you need? I will give you just some numbers. You'll have to do some maths yourself. So SEBI, which is the market regulator, has an investor site. I chair a SEBI committee. We look after this part. We have put out calculators. So the problem with finance is there can be so much of misinformation. This is coming from the regulator. You can trust these numbers. Investor.sebi.gov.in. Investor.sebi.gov.in. We'll have a list of calculators. You need to look at your expenses today, annual expenses, forecast using inflation till age 60. When you turn 60, what is it that you're going to be spending in that year? Okay, so use the calculator, get that number. It's going to be a very large number. Then you multiply that number by 26. It'll be even a larger number in crores. Okay, multiply that number by 26. That is the retirement corpus you need. Okay, it'll look like a large 4, 5, 6, 10, depending on what you're spending. It can be whatever crore. Why am I saying 26? So the way this maths is done, do we want to eat into our capital or do we only want the return? So if we eat into capital so that at age 100 it goes to 0, you need only 18 times, 1/8. If you want to bequeath all of it, you need 35 times, okay, which is an even larger number. 26 is a halfway house, that you eat half the capital and you get a reasonable target for your retirement. So I hope that you take some of these numbers down and look at that figure for yourself. And then do the maths that I have done for you to say that if I save, and again, those calculators are there on the SEBI website, if I save this much per year, and I'm using the index return over 20 years, do you think India is going to continue to grow? Yes or no? Yes, right? Stronger, yes, I think so, yes. Yes. If we think India is going to continue to grow, that means companies will invest, grow, make profits, employment will happen, consumption will happen, it's a growth cycle. If the country is in a growth cycle, it reflects on the stock market. So your retirement product should also reflect the state of the economy. If there is an economy which is in recession, all of this is nonsense. Because Japan was in 30 years, the markets did nothing. It's only now that they have started, okay? So Japan is a story where the market doesn't respond because the economy is not growing. But when you are sitting in a growth economy, you must use the growth that equity can give because the retirement numbers are going to be very, very large. The mistakes that you make are two. One is inaction, which we all understand. The second is overaction. You will never get the highest return. You have to see if you get index return, you are fine. If you chase returns, you will always lose money. So remember, your two enemies to investment is inaction and too much action. Day trading, F&O trading, crypto. When you're over trading, who's making money? It's the broker which makes the money. Okay, there's data, SEBI's put out again, data to show that 9 out of 10 people lose money in F&O. Did you know that? 9. And do you know this is before broker costs are added on? You add broker costs, it's a big, big loss to retail Indian investors. So overaction makes money for the broker. You need something to fill it, shut it, forget it. And that will be given by this product called an index fund, which is really like an aspirin. It's a generic, which you still have to research a bit before you commit your money to it long term. So I'm wishing a very rich money journey to all of you. And if there are a couple of questions, I have about 3 minutes left. Thank you. Yes? It follows a gradation of as the assets under management increase, the expense ratio falls, okay? So today, I think at the maximum it is 1 point something, 1.1 something. There are certain cases in which expense ratio is added on to because of some benefits given to the beyond 30 cities, but we can say 1.5. 1.5% would be the expense ratio effective. Okay?
And another question related to that, you talked about index funds. So considering inflation and everything across Indian economy, what is the average ROI for index funds?
I have given that number to you. For the last 10 years, it's been 10%. For the last 20 years, it's been almost 15%. When you project into the future, how do you calculate? You look at GDP number, add inflation to it. Okay, and a little bit more. Okay, that's how what we have seen data to show. That's how you predict where the index will go. So if your inflation is at 5, and there is a tax sitting there, if inflation is at 5 and you're doing 12, you're doing very well because your real return, if inflation is 5 and your bank deposit is giving 6, post-tax, you are losing money. Long term, so fixed deposits very good for short-term emergency, not good for long-term. So long-term, you need something that preserves your purchasing power, okay? Because inflation is even 2 years of high inflation can really destroy the returns of a portfolio. Yeah? Yeah.
Hi, Monica. Thanks. It was a great session. And the cash flow piece, I mean, that has caught me.
Use it.
Yeah.
Don't just listen to it. Just
I have
use
just
it.
started that for UPI because last time I had to sign the papers for my vehicle loan. I had to sign like 70 times. So I started with UPI, but perhaps I can move all the expenses into one account.
Into one account, yeah.
So that looks good. But you talked about the retirement corpus. So what do you think about NPS in that case?
Are you on EPF?
I am.
If you are already on EPF, then 24% of your basic is already being saved for retirement in a tax-free product. You don't need an additional NPS product. So I'll tell you what the problem with NPS, it's a great product, okay? Very low costs. You can move between, you can do asset allocation. The only problem is on retirement, on vesting, 40% of the money goes to buy an annuity. I'm losing control of 40% of my money. I'm not very happy. I would rather do it myself. So two things. One, if you're already on EPF, you don't need NPS. You use index fund route. But if you are part of a gig economy and you don't have EPF, NPS is great. Okay?
Okay. I was thinking this as well because people, that's the idea. People give that you get that tax benefit as well year after year.
So,
and secondly,
choosing an investment just for the tax benefit is not a great idea. Choose an investment because it works for you. Tax benefit is an added cherry on it. So don't choose that for the tax benefit. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, all right. I
All
think
right.
I'm out of time. Completely. Thank you so much. Wish you all well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Monica, for a very, very insightful session. I think we had a great start to the beginning of our summit. You spoke about some intricate, dynamic, but very interesting relationship that we have with money. Also, you spoke about some very imperative knowledge about investments, savings, and expenditure. I'm sure it's been extremely useful to all of us. And you also spoke certain crucial truths about money. We really appreciate and respect that. So thank you so much, and we wish you all the best for your future endeavors. I request everybody in the audience, if you could please put your phones on silent mode. Much appreciated. A quick reminder about the social media contest, which is ongoing. You could capture any moment, any given moment of the event today, post it online, and share your thoughts, ideas, pictures, whatever that you feel like with us. Also, reminder for the booth visiting card that you all have, the stamps are going to add up to the points for a grand prize for one of you lucky winners today. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite on the dais our next esteemed speaker, who is going to make us step into the next gen of defense as we stand witnessing the dawn of next gen SIM. Let's please welcome Mr. Nitin Verma, Managing Director, India and SAARC, CrowdStrike. Can we please have a huge round of applause, and can we welcome him on stage? Thank you, sir.
On? All right. So I get this opportunity of saying good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Friday, Delhi, energy is not that great, so can we try one more time? Good evening, everyone. Last time, if I remember, till he gets a slide, I think it ended right at the middle of the room here. Now it's kind of extended out there. It's always great to see this grow, and it always feels nice and at home whenever I'm here with all of you here. And thanks, Vikas, for having us here today. Can I ask everyone to just switch off the mobile? Pehli bench pe baith ke aap mobile dekh rahe ho, sir? 10 minutes. We'll finish it off. All right. So, I think she spoke about my topic as Dawn of the SIM, and you don't see that here. Trust me, this is not my topic. I'm kind of, to be very honest, right, I'm kind of nervous and kind of scared, right, today, and I'll tell you why. A week back, Vikas called me, right, and we were chatting, what do I need to present, and he said, Nitin, all about knowledge sharing sessions and blah, 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 right? I said, okay. He said, just apni dukaan mat kholna yaar tu. कि ये भी है, ये भी है, ये भी है, धनिया पुदीना free दूंगा. No. Just talk about some trends. What are you hearing from the customers? What are they saying to you? So on and so forth. I said, okay. And then I kind of showed to the banker, right, my marketing team. I said, I'm going to present this trend here, right? They said, nahi, right, we are sponsoring. You need to talk about at least one slide about CrowdStrike, right? So I am not very good with, in spite of being a Delhiite, I'm not very good with mixing drinks or topics in here, right? So I'll try my best, and I would need help from you. We'll try and make it a little fun here by doing a quiz in between, right? Not at the end, in between. And I'll need 2 volunteers here, right? From the existing customer of CrowdStrike. So I'll kind of identify that, right? And let's see if I can make this mixing of topics and everything like that, okay? So let's start with saying that what are we hearing from all of you? Hearing from you guys, I think there's a lot of complexity that we are seeing, right? And this is, I think, as a result of what we have done over time, right? In the surge or in the urge of having defense in depth or best of breed, we kept on adding silos in our system, right? And that's why we see this complexity all around us, right? Today, the customer wants to do more with less. And the 3 expectations that they have from every investment that they're doing today, right? The first one, which is very basic, stop the increasing sophisticated threats, which is basically saying, stop the breaches, right? Second one, every IT leader or a security leader like yourself wants to get liberated from that pseudo platform, from that legacy ineffective tools, for that multi-pointed products, and talking about now how do I consolidate IT and security into one single platform, or saying one single agent, right? Keeping the best of breed or the defense in depth intact so as to achieve the outcome of stopping breaches. The third one, I think somebody spoke about the powerful guy in the organization, which is a CFO. And in the era that we live, which is a CF no era, right? Which is a no from the CFO, every time we go back to him, right? He wants to do more with less by consolidating the point products and getting to team the work, right? And spending their time on doing the right things around security rather than just playing around or triaging alerts and so on and so forth. The key thing in the slide, guys, is 2, right? 1, a platform. Second, having defense in depth or the best of breed out here, right? Now, if you look at CrowdStrike today, right, their first AI native, or the industry's first AI native cybersecurity XDR platform basically helps our customer to consolidate about 28 different products, what we have, in 12 different categories. And everything is based on a single agent. I will not dwell into the remaining stuff here, but the key is, how do I help my customer consolidate 28 different products in 12 different categories only on one agent? And I'll not speak about any of my products, and that's where I wanted 2 volunteers. Can I have a raise of hand of the people who are existing customers of CrowdStrike? Bas itna hi hai, Faizul bhai, okay. Can I have the guy who's come in for the first time in a conference, Upen from HCL, right? If you can just stand up, sir. And can we have a mic for him, please? Okay, same table, we have Ashish also sitting there. Can you stand up, sir? Can you come here? Quickly, I just have 2 minutes. I wasted in finding presentations. Now, what I basically wanted them to do is, right, they talk about, and we'll check on the awareness of our customers on our offerings so far, right? They'll just talk about the different offerings. Some they might be using, some they're aware. We made them aware, maybe, I hope so, right? And then we have a giveaway, which we'll talk about that later. Just talking about the different products. You face there, and I'll switch on this, okay? Face there, don't look here, okay? Now you guys will see the different categories of product that we have, right? And quickly, 3 minutes, we just have 3 minutes, just talk about any product that you feel like. Upen, starting with you, any product that you name.
EDR, XDR,
Okay. Good.
MDR,
then vulnerability management,
exposure management,
cloud security,
identity,
and then brand monitoring,
right? And the log management solution.
data security.
Yeah.
Data security is also there. Data protection. Yeah.
What else?
NGSIM.
NGSIM.
Yeah.
Okay.
Threat intel.
Yes. Guys, just have a look at what they are saying and what I have just bought on the screen. I think out of the 11 that you saw, right? They have covered 10. Yeah? Anything you can. So I think if I made this with your permission, right, you are, I think, one of the latest customers for us 6 months back. A huge environment, right? Anything that you would like to say? How was your experience migrating from traditional ones?
Yeah, so, I mean, experience was great. So, SCL Tech has around 250,000 endpoints. And we initiated our migration in January. Right? So 1 month was spent in planning for it. And we were able to roll it out by end of March to 200,000 plus, which we are. And I mean, agent is very lightweight. So there was a significant improvement in the performance. The user complaints came down. So overall, it's a good experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Binder. It means a lot to us. I'll GPay you. What we agree? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Yep. Thank you so much. Guys, a huge round of applause for these guys. Now, if you look at the green ones that I've ticked in, right, I think this is something which is verified, tested by the researchers or the analysts, basically saying everything that I have shown in green are in the leaders or the leaders, right, in the researchers quadrant, whether it's Gartner, IDC, Forrester, whatever it is. Basically saying this is the best of breed that you have. It's not, by the way, it's in my platform, right? So that's what I wanted to show. And every module that you see, and Upendra and Ashish spoke about, is powered by our first SOC analyst, generative AI SOC analyst called Charlotte AI. So that's it about the platform. I didn't speak about anything about CrowdStrike. It's my customers who came and spoke about it, right? So I kept my promise to Vikas, right? Today I'm going to talk about NG SIM, the next generation SIM, the new addition to the next generation series of security, because in security, everything is about next generation, right? And trust me, it's not about CrowdStrike. It's all about saying, why do we see the legacy SIM crippling down? What does next-gen SIM or an AI-native SOC means to us, and why are they leading the next era of protection for us today? Okay? Guys, it's a long day. Too many sponsors, too many presentations, right? So let's do one thing here. Let's keep it interactive so that we keep it light, right? And let's have some fun here, okay? And as a CrowdStriker, a part of us having fun is stopping breaches. This has been our mission for many, many years, and this will remain our mission for many years to come, right? And I'm sure that I share this common view and mission with each one sitting here in this audience today, right? But it continues to kind of get harder and harder for the defenders each day and each hour. And just in case you're wondering, what is this number all about? Any guesses? Any guesses, anyone? 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Sorry? No. Sorry? No. No. So, okay. 2 minutes, 7 seconds is the fastest breakout time that CrowdStrike observed in the last 12 months. Now, what I really mean by that is, an adversary who's focused on getting into a system will try and move out laterally, causing a breach. 2 minutes and 7 seconds. This is incredibly fast in today's environment. Yeah? The next number, 31 seconds. Any guesses again? This cannot be SLA, for sure. Yeah? 31 seconds. It's the time taken by an adversary to download a toolkit and start the reconnaissance tools to exploit that system again. And this is all researched by the CrowdStrike Intelligence and mentioned in the Global Threat Report that we release every year. 31 seconds. So clearly, guys, one of the main problems or challenges that we see in security is time. So a part of the talk will be, how do we go about and bend the time in security, right? Talking about security, I'm sure everybody agrees that security is all about data. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah, right? But today, the biggest challenge in security is data. In fact, security is a data problem. And the reason I say that, if you look at SOC today, it's incredibly difficult for the SOC team, right, to serve through or sort through the massive amount and volume of data, right, just to find those right signals and threats. The truth to be said, the defenders today have too much of data to go through, but not enough time. And again, goes back to that 2 minutes and 7 seconds or 31 seconds out there. Yep. So part of the talk will be to see how do we bend time in security, right? And think about how do we solve this problem. So today, I will kind of talk about or take you to history of the legacy SIEM, why it's crippling down, what does next generation and how does next generation SIEM or an AI native SOC solve the problem of time and data in security today. So let's go back to 2005, right? And see, 2005 and see when Gartner came out with a term called SIEM. Anybody can say the full form of a SIEM? S-I-E-M? Yeah, right. What was it designed to do? It was designed to collect low fidelity alerts, right, and find something which was very difficult to be found in an enterprise. And back then in 2005, it was all about APT. Anybody remembers what APT is? Sorry? Awesome. It's always nice to be with intelligent crowd here, right? It was all about APT. So we had a SIEM which will collect data and try and correlate that. But then we had to think about taking action or response. The problem is it has drastically changed. The landscape has drastically changed over the last 2 decades, right? 3 things I'll talk about, right? 1, your SOC has outgrown your SIEM. And just think about this, guys. There's no animation here, right? Your SOC actually has overgrown the SIEM today, right? And what I mean by that is your SOC team is dealing with a major problem of data paradox. Any clue what data paradox is? It's a dreaded data paradox, right? And I think we'll talk about this, right? Now, when you see, I think in terms of the data what we ingest, it really could be a disaster to ingest data in a SIEM, right? Many financial companies, many organizations basically take decisions on their financial needs rather than security needs. And when such kind of decisions are taken, right, we know what happened. It results in breaches, right? The second thing is all about speed. Today, the legacy SIEM are not able to keep up to the speed of adversaries. Again, going back to 2 minutes and 7 seconds or 31 seconds in here, right? But you think about this. How much amount of data that we have to go through? Humongous. It's a massive amount and volume of data that we kind of go through. And it takes days and days, and correct my understanding, guys, keep me honest, it takes days and days to just ingest the data into the SIEM. It takes days and hours to kind of get through an advanced or a complex queries, right? And again boils back, how do we bend time in security and stay ahead of the adversaries? And when you are triaging an incident or basically looking at an alert, you cannot have hours and hours or days and hours. You cannot wait for that, right? So it's always seeing how do we bend time in security to stay ahead of the adversaries today. And the third and the most important thing, right, is all about the outcome that we are sitting here for, stopping breaches. The legacy SIEM fails to stop breaches. Now, how many breaches that we have seen, we have read about, I hope not, but we are a part of that, which had a legacy SIEM in play, but they were not able to stop breaches. Why do you think that happened, right? Let's go back to the history of SIEM. It collects data, low fidelity alerts, right? It correlates that. But then we had to think about taking actions. So what the industry thought was, let's bolt a SOAR, an orchestration layer. And through that, we will start taking actions. But the problem of having that kind of arrangement is that the SIEM and the SOAR is actually sitting out of band. It's out there and not at the tip of the spear where the breaches are actually happen. Where do you think the breaches happen? I'm asking you a question, guys. Where do you think the breaches happen? Endpoint and the workloads. You never say, okay, network firewall got breached, right? So when the SIEM and the SOAR is out of band, it really becomes hard, right, to kind of react or to take action when the SIEM and the SOAR is out of band vis-a-vis when it's inline or inside the platform, right? The architecture that I showed you of CrowdStrike, right? So that's the 3 reasons why, which became the genesis of next-gen SIM. So what is a next-gen SIM? Anybody wants to take a jibe at that? Couple of points. What is a next-gen SIM as per you guys? Before I'm going to talk about it. Anybody? We're talking about next-gen SIM. Everybody talks about next-gen SIM. What is a next-gen SIM as per you? Okay, that's nice. Nobody knows about it. I can say anything. Okay. Well, I attribute 4 things with next-gen SIM here, right? The first thing is, next-gen SIM is all about fusing data and AI automation. There are a lot of stuff that we speak about AI, right? No presentation gets over without mentioning AI. But next-gen SIM is really, really about fusing the data and the AI automation here, guys, right? Now, it all starts with kind of sort of understanding or changing how do we get data at scale and do something with that, right? Now, the world that I come from, right, we believe as CrowdStrike that the endpoint or the cloud data or the workload data is very important. And when we speak to customers like you, they say 75 to 80% of data, and keep me honest guys here if I'm going wrong, 75 to 80% of the data that we ingest in the SIM comes from endpoint or the EDR tools. So why do we stick data somewhere else when we can take that 20% of data and then in the same place and then try and move on from there? मैं क्यों बाकी 20% के लिए सारा data वहाँ ले जाऊँ? I can take that 20% additional and bring it here, right? So for us, it's the cloud and the endpoint data is the starting point, right? Then it's about third-party ingest. There's so many things in the universe that you want to know about. It could be security related or a non-security related. But the problem is we need to ingest that data, right? And the problem that comes is it becomes very, very difficult because you have parsers. You have to actually go through changes and configuration. The second thing is it's very difficult to move data from one place to another. I'm sure anybody handling SOC or taking care of SOC would know that, how difficult it is to move data from one place to another, right? And most importantly, it's very, very difficult to normalize the data. And what I mean by that is, the problem with working with so many security vendors today is that they have different schemas. And what I really mean by that is, they say or they talk about the same thing in a different name. Like, I'll give an example, very layman example, an IP address. CrowdStrike might call that IP address, oh, numbers separated by dots, right? Somebody else will say, oh, it looks like an IP address. The third guy will say, oh, it smells like an IP address, right? But we don't call that. Now think about AI and what can it do in this environment, right? A part of the solution that AI can bring is to understand the data automatically, ingest and parse it automatically, and then normalize that. Yeah, that's the AI role in here. And the third thing is about normalization, right? It's a very key thing in a next generation SIM, wherein you automatically, like I mentioned, you automatically ingest the data without knowing the schema and then normalize it. And this kind of sets up things for other components in here. And then it's all about data enrichment. So you have all the data at one place. You want to enrich it. You want to understand what this alert is all about. You want to enrich that. You want to see if this alert can be converted into an incident, right? Think about a SOC analyst who spend hours and hours to see whether the alert is real or not, right? And then, once you have this data, it's all about taking action. Workflow automation. Again, a very, very key component of a next-gen SIM in here, right? Which is all about saying that instead of clicking around or triaging through UI console, I can today go back and create generative workflows and actually interrogate and question the data. The key concept here would be just ask questions and get answers. Ask questions and get answers. And the last one, I think today, every big organization is talking about that, is building your own LLM, right? So when you have all the data at one place, why is there a need to kind of port or ship the data to a different data lake to create your own AI and ML models? What we believe is, and what we think is, If you can do that, if you can do the modeling in the data that you have at one place, I think it's a very cost-effective model to kind of eliminate that data paradox that we spoke about. So that's the key element of Next-Gen SIM, one of the key elements. The second one is, it should automatically do the log management piece. It should automate the log management, right? From a next-gen SIM perspective, it should actually look at automating the log management routine, which basically means we talked about data and ingesting the data, right? Wanting to store as much of data possible, right? So from an automated log management routine means you are able to ingest and store as much as data in a very compressed form. Maybe it's 40% compressed, 70% compressed, whatever it is, right? And able to get back or search over a period of time anything that you need from a compliance perspective. Right? Basically saying, from a next-gen SIM perspective, you should be able to break the cost productivity curve. Now, what I mean by that is, if you look at legacy SIM, the curve is actually linear when you're using it. And tell me, guys, if I'm going wrong here somewhere, right? And if you have a difference of opinion, right? The curve for using it is linear, but it becomes exponential when you are actually paying for it. We've spoken to countless customers and they say, we have data, we want to ingest data, and the more we use it, the bill actually shoots up. Yaar, mera bhi 300 EPS hai, right? If I ingest more data, this will go from 300 to maybe 900. It will cost me more, right? So a part of next-gen SIM and the way to think about this or the way to break the cost productivity curve is to think NG SIM like your cell phone, right? Remember 10 years back, we used to have the cell phones where we'll say, okay, this is how much you pay per minute, but you have 30 minutes free. Then it became 60 minutes. Then it became, the cost remained same. But I think the usage kind of went by, the number of free minutes went by. So when you look at an NG SIM today or the next-gen SIM today, the cost really becomes a staircase approach and the usage becomes exponential for you, right? The third element here, right, is the compliance reporting. And I'm sure it's one of the main drivers or pain points for many of you sitting in this room. And what I really mean by that is, how many of you have been asked that we have an PCI audit, can you get those systems, right, at one place and we see whether they are PCI compliant or not, right? We have a HIPAA requirement. Can you get those systems out there and check, right? We are controlled by NIST framework. Can you come out with a report and see if we are controlled there, right? Now think about generative AI and the incredible stuff that it can do by just asking that we want to report the data, right, in the format that we need. It could be PCI, it could be HIPAA, or it could be a NIST framework, whatever it is. Think about the time that we cut down in a day, right, for the security practitioners to meet the compliance here, right? And last but not the least, right, the next-gen SIM actually becomes the operating system of an AI native SOC. Right? I'm sure, I think you're hearing a lot about SOC transformation, moving out from traditional SOC to an AI native SOC, so on and so forth. But ultimately, when you think about this, it is all about creating a foundational orchestration layer, right? Which not only supports multiple security use cases, but also allows the customer to kind of build their own application on it. And this becomes the foundation element of an AI native SOC, right? So what is an AI native SOC? Anybody wants to talk about AI native SOC? Or anybody wants to kind of try what AI native SOC is all about? Anyone? Good, right? Now again, I think I regard 4 attributes to it, right? Which I think is important, and there could be more that I'm happy to hear from you guys. The first one is, and I'll not take much time, guys, which is only 4 minutes left. The first one is advanced threat detection or automated response, right? The reason why we're here is to achieve an outcome of stopping breaches. That's the prerequisite, right? Now, when we have paid this money, we really want to have that outcome, right? So first thing what it does is, AI native SOC does it, it goes through a massive volume of data and finds out those complex threats, maybe the 0 days, right? And then automates the response on its own, right? Like getting a system offline, quarantining a system, or maybe patching remediation, so on and so forth, right? It is all about saying, how do we bend time in security? The second one, which is, I think, one of the major areas, and I think CrowdStrike is working or doing a lot of innovation, is about predictive security, which is to say, where are the attack paths? Based on the threat environment, the threat actors, my configuration, my assets, my vulnerabilities, right? Can I look at or can I have the potential attack paths in my environment? Because it becomes very interesting to know what needs to be prioritized, that needs to be fixed. Because in security, it's always good to know what bad can happen. And this is a big area for CrowdStrike where we're working on in our next-gen SIEM. The third one is workflow automation. I think I spoke about this workflow automation earlier. Think about coming to work, and rather than clicking around or doing the mundane task, I get to kind of interrogate the data, right? Like saying, okay, what are the threats in my environment? How does it apply to my industry? How does it apply to my organization? What are the assets as risks, so on and so forth? The amount of automation that you will be embracing, right, will really bend the time in security for you. And the last one here is adaptive security posture. Yeah, it's a big area again, right? As an organization, I think you have a lot of learning about your people, right? About the threats, about your environment. You cannot just depend on vendors to do that for you, right? The system should allow you to identify how does a malicious insider looks like, what are the threats in your environment, and how are they exploited. It's a big area again, which is incorporated in every next-gen SIEM that you hear about today, right? So guys, just putting it together and summing it up, right? When I talk about NG SIEM or a AI native SOC, right? It's basically driving a convergence, right? A very powerful convergence of artificial intelligence, of workflow automation, of data, and of people, right? And to me, I think it's a very powerful thing in security, which has the ability to revolutionize the security, and not only security, but the operations in security. And many times, I think we've been asked this question, that does that mean that the SOC analyst will be out of business? The answer is no. You know what it really means? It means that you can convert an 8-hour job into 10 minutes. It means that you can convert or turn a tier 1 SOC analyst to a tier 3 analyst in here, right? To me, it's a beacon of light in security, because every time we come to such conferences, it's all about, yaar, barbaad ho gaye, there's so much of threat, ye maar raha hai, ye ransomware ho raha hai, this and blah, 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 blah. But I think finally, we have a good news in terms of helping the SOC, right? Making them have some fun, letting them have some fun, and putting the rigor and processes to stop breaches. And I think this is the outcome that we look at. It's all about stopping breaches in there, right? So thank you guys. With that, I think thanks for your patience and attention. Thank you so much.
Round of our Wheel of Fortune, and it will be an honor for you to give the first prize for the Wheel of Fortune. So can we please have let's spin it and let's find out who is the first lucky winner. Are we ready, audience? Shall we spin the wheel? Can I have some more energy? Can we spin the wheel? Yes? Okay, and we have our first winner right there, Mr. Sushant Saho. Can you please join us on stage? Many, many congratulations to you. Can we have the prize coming up on the stage, please? You are the first lucky winner of this event. Many congratulations to you. I would like to... All right then. Can we have the prize, please? It's right over there. Let's not keep the winner away from the prize for too long. There you go.
One quick question. Why do you see so less names on the screen? Why so less names? And we have a house full over here.
That's a good question.
This is from the contest we did in our WhatsApp group, right? If you repost the post of Elite CISO announcing the partner, only then your name goes over here. Okay? After tea break, anybody who is here in the room, your name will be here. Okay? That's how it is.
Congratulations to you, and thank you so much, Mr. Nitin. It was wonderful having you with us today. Now we'll take a quick moment. Thank you, sir. We'll take a quick moment to the Cyber Grandmaster Challenge, which I was mentioning about in the beginning. We would now like to explain to you how the quiz is going to function. And this quiz has been designed by Mr. Baidyanath Kumar, CISO and DPO at JK Lakshmi Cement. May I please request you to join me on stage? Can we please have a hand for him? A warm welcome to you. He has designed the quiz for us today, and I would love for you to take the audience through the functioning of the quiz, of the format of the quiz.
So, yeah, good evening, everyone. So, looking forward to the Cyber Grand Quiz competition. So, I will be explaining quickly the rules. Can we have the slide, please? So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. So, in total, we have 6 sets of QR codes. So, what you need to do, you need to pay attention to the sessions, right? Partner sessions. So, starting with the CrowdStrike, then Okta, and there are, I think, 5 power-packed sessions. So, after that, you will be getting a QR code. You just need to scan it. And then there are 2 questions with that. So, for each right answers, you will be winning 100 points. And there is no negative point for any wrong answers also. Now, overall, you have 3 sets of questions. Match the column, then ordering the list, as well as multiple choice. So for multiple choice questions, there will be 20 seconds to answer a question. For ordering and drop down, we have, or match the column, we have 30 seconds. So pay attention to that and accordingly answer the questions. So the security related all stuffs are implemented. So no tab switching and all those things. You have to take care of that. And you have to look into these all important parameters. Now related, next slide please quickly. So the leaderboard announcement. So we are not going to announce in the middle, okay, because so that each participant will be participating like that. Whosoever is going to win, it should not be getting declared at the first. Okay, so at last we will be announcing the winner. And in case of point tally, the time and the fastest response is going to take the precedence. So be mindful when you are answering. So be swift in answering the question. And obviously, finally, the winner will be getting the grand award, right? That is already declared by
electric scooter.
Yeah, so that's electric scooter, yeah. So that's all. So in paucity of time, can we have the first set of
So
QR
just one
code?
question. Is it just the quiz that is going to decide, or do we have to do something else as well?
Yeah, so obviously, so that visiting to the booth also to get 50 points per booth visit, that will be getting added to the final score.
Okay, so you
In
have to
addition to
visit
this
all
one.
the booths and then win in the quiz as well,
Quiz
right?
as
That's
well,
how it is?
yeah.
Awesome, great.
And also the social media contest. Whoever's post gets the maximum number of likes.
So that will not decide this.
Yeah.
Okay, we
So
have
it
a
is-
separate giveother for that.
Yes, that is separate. Yeah.
Okay, so should
Just
we?
one more
yes.
thing. So you have to use your official email address. That is for sure. Otherwise, and no vendor participation. This is only for CXOs.
Awesome.
So that's all.
Let's move it fast now, guys. Okay, let's have the QR code.
So ready?
So this is the
Clear
first
space
QR
for
code.
you.
Scan it, participate in it, and if you win, you can drive away a nice electric scooter. If you can move away from the QR code, yeah.
There will be 2 questions which will show up. You can quickly answer. And
Sukhmani, we are 15 minutes late already, so we have to rush.
Okay, all right. So we will keep doing this drill after every session. I think it's pretty simple. Thank you so much for taking us through the entire functioning of the quiz. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're now ready to explore a future which is free of password fatigue and constant vulnerability, where there is ease of secure logins, and for which I would like to welcome our next speaker on stage, Mr. Ganesh Narasimhadevara, Principal Solutions Engineer, Okta. May I please have you on stage, and can we please give him a huge round of applause? A slightly louder one with more energy. A warm welcome to you. Come on, audience. I think we can have some more energy. I think everybody's busy in the quiz. That's fantastic. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying back. Is it already the tea time? I think it is, but I'll just take 20 minutes to share my learnings from recent past. and I won't bore you. I'll try to keep it as interactive as possible. I'm actually call out some names and then ask people to help me answer some questions. So please don't be intimidated with that. I want to start this discussion by telling a recent incident that happened. How many of you submitted your income tax returns already? Some responsible citizens and a lot not. Yeah, many of you submitted income tax returns, is it? So recently I was trying to submit my income tax return, and then my dad walked up to me and then he asked me, he wants to submit his income tax returns, and then I said, oh, sure, why not? Just tell me your username and password for the income tax website. And then he slowly pulls out a paper from his pocket, gives it to me, and then says, that's my password. I asked, are you serious? Do you actually have a password written on a paper? He said, yeah, that's how it is. I can't remember so many passwords. And along with that, he also made a statement and then said, there are so many technology advancements that happened. Can we just not get rid of passwords completely and still keep my identity secure? And that's what made me think of the title for this presentation. Is this the end of passwords? Can we get to a state where we completely end passwords, still secure the logins, and ensure they are phishing resistant? Right? And that's what we are going to talk about today. So to quickly start with, my name is Ganesh. I'm a Principal Solutions Engineer at Okta India, based out of Bangalore. I have about 17 plus years of experience. The salt, pepper, hair must have already given it out. I spent my enough years in the industry. I worked on identity, InfoSec, DevOps, and a lot more. And a few interests out of work. I'm a big stand-up comedy buff, and I also am a big follower of Indian mythology. So, to get started, I'm going to ask some questions to everyone on this stage. You're not supposed to answer that question, okay? You're actually not supposed to answer that question. Great, because all of you are part of CISO group, so obviously I don't expect anyone to raise your hand and say, hey, here's my password. And the second question, how many of you use same password across applications? This you can tell me, because I'm not going to guess your password. See, a lot of you, even I do that, right? I use the same password across a few applications. Now, how many of you really feel that your logins are like truly secure? I'm just waiting for someone to raise their hand so I can ask them to go to Have I Been Pawned and then check is your identity really secure or not, right? So the point here is the passwords are not really 100% secure, right? Passwords, most of the passwords are easily guessable. Is it someone coming and then having a very friendly conversation with you saying, hey, is your password, what's your password? And like, yeah, it's my grandmom's name. And then, oh, that's really cool. How have you been doing? And after some time, what's your grandmom's name, right? And that's where you start thinking, oh my God, I lost my password, right? I lost my password. That's how easy it is. As long as you have, your password is something based on your personal life, someone can have a friendly conversation and then guess your password, right? All this tells us is passwords needs to go. I'm not saying passwords have to completely go, but how can you secure them in a better way? That's the trend that we're seeing now. And almost all the surveys that you're seeing today are saying that the breaches have happened either because someone who lost their credentials, or something similar to a phishing attack that happened, or someone who has the password credentials that are stolen from somewhere, right? Most of the breaches that have happened revolve around identity theft. So, how do we fix this? When we ask this question to a few of the executives come back and then say, but we have MFA, we're not worried about it. Even if the password is, it's pretty simple or guessable, we still have MFA. But that comes with its own challenges. Even if you have an MFA, I was just talking to someone, and in fact, Nitin also mentioned it in his presentation, where he said it takes about 31 seconds to breach or for a bad actor to find what your, breach any kind of authentication attempt, right? So having MFA is not enough. There are tools that are available out there where you can pay like probably $50 and then purchase a GitHub package. You can actually use it to breach MFA. Any kind of traditional MFA. It's available out there right now in the market. At the same time, the challenges across so many devices and then platforms. I'm using a device today which probably is an Android device and it's rooted. How can you ensure that an MFA request is not coming from such device? or I have an Android phone which is running like probably an Android version of 2017. How do I ensure that such applications, such devices do not make an MFA attempt on my system? And the last one, you're having an MFA, which is good, but what if my password is still password 123? That can create or that can cause MFA fatigue, where someone has guessed your password and then they're just going to send like 100 push notifications to your phone. You're frustrated and then like, I just want to get rid of this, and then you say yes to it, right? And that is where the responsibility, you as part of being the executive team, comes between security, experience, and productivity. That's a healthy balance that you would really need to maintain. So now that's where the requirement for passwordless comes in. And being passwordless is also part of a zero trust maturity model. And if you see, at a very first stage when you have fragmented identity, that's where you're just doing, Active Directory that you have in the on-premise, and then you're just integrating it with whatever application is possible, but for the other applications, you're just giving a username password. Stage 2 is where you go and then say, I'm going to bring in a unified IAM platform, where I ensure that SSO is across all of my platforms. I'm going to add a modern MFA and just ensure that there are policies across all of my applications and different authenticators that I'm going to use. Stage 3 is where you get into the contextual access part of it. I'm going to deploy multiple factors, but at the same time, I'm also going to look and then say, is the context right for the authentication, the authenticator that is requesting an access? Am I having the enough context, be it device or country or anything that is related? And the last one, which is like the stage 4, is where you are looking at adaptive workforce, where you say, I'm going to take a decision completely based on risk. It need not be dependent on like 1 or 2 contexts, but at a complete risk posture. And then I say, I'm going to not just allow the user into my system and then just leave it there, but rather, I'm actually going in and then deciding, is this session still valid even after 20 minutes after the session was initiated? Continuous evaluation, right? And the last one is, how frictionless can I make this so my employees are happy? Recently, there was a survey which also said, other than salary and also, going to office, the third point that any employee is looking for to join an organization is flexibility. Not just working from home, but also how easily can I be productive on any given day. That's what the employees are also looking for. That's the road to passwordless. But now let's understand these 3 points here. How can I get a modern MFA, ensure that I still have multiple factors that I can still deploy so that I have an option? And the last one, how frictionless can I make this? And that's where you start considering, okay, I need to consider passwordless, but what are the 4 things that I need to look at if I have to even consider passwordless? Basically deciding, should I go to passwordless or not? The points that you would look at is, the first one, threats. What are the kinds of threats I want to deal with? And what's the technology that I need to support? Could be different kinds of browsers, different kinds of devices, or it could be different kinds of authenticators that I might need. Third one is behavior. What's the kind of behavior that I want to be enabled with this authenticator? Can I just let my user register? Can I also use this authenticator for recovering my account? What are the things that I want to do with this authenticator? And the last one is cost. Everybody likes this point, is it? Cost, right? Everybody likes this point. Yes, I'm going passwordless, but what's the cost for it? What's the ROI? That's the last thing that you would consider. So now, while you consider that, should I even go for passwordless or not? Let's say you went to passwordless. You've decided, okay, I'm going to implement passwordless in my company. Now, how's the deployment plan looking? The deployment plan talks about adoption. No one is going to agree unless they're given enough justification or enough understanding of what's the new change that's coming in. Try going ahead and telling your management team, saying that I'm going to bring in a new solution without giving any pointers. They'll give you the right answer. As part of adoption, you also have to build the awareness within employees. Tell them how easy it is to go to passwordless. And when it comes to authentication, what are the kind of different hardware that you're going to support? Basically, the devices and browsers that I spoke about, right? And the last one is implementation. Obviously, it has to be phased implementation. First, you do it for IT team. Then you go ahead and do it for the engineering team, and then take it forward, right? Phased rollout. Now, that is all about going passwordless. But what about phishing resistance that I was talking about? The three key factors of phishing resistant is what I'm going to talk about after this. But even before talking about phishing resistance, I'm going to show you how AITM attack looks with Evil Nginx. Evil Nginx is a solution available out there which can completely mirror your website. And how does that look, right? How many of you know what AITM is? AITM? Adversary in the middle attack, right? How does this look like? Starting basic to basics, right? I have a nice guy who is trying to access a website or a resource, and there is a simple resource, a backend, I'm going to make a call. But then, I also have a bad actor. I also have a bad actor who is trying to interrupt everything that's happening in between. The flow usually looks like this. The bad actor is going to send a fake website, and poor guy, Mr. India, is trying to access this website, but it's a fake website which he cannot make. That's because the website looks exactly like a genuine website. Exactly like a genuine website. Enters the username and password, all the requests and responses are proxied, and the bad actor got access to the resource that Mr. India is supposed to get. Mogambo Kushua, right? Mogambo is happy. So now, how can this be eliminated through phishing resistant MFAs? Let's go ahead and quickly look what exactly is a phishing resistant authenticator. According to NIST, what are the three key properties that are required? The first property is domain origin bound. Just like how you saw, from a fake website, you're able to trigger a request for an authenticator, and that was done. But now, NIST says, if you have to be a phishing resistant authenticator, these are the three things that you need. The first one is domain origin bound. You need to ensure that the domain from which the request is originating should cryptographically match with the domain for which this authenticator is already registered. The domains have to match. The second one is no shared secrets. There should not be passwords or OTPs or TOTPs, anything that can go through a network. And the last one is trusted relationship. When I create a trusted relationship between my authenticator and my identity provider, how is that going to be? It should be a trusted relationship based on a public key, private key combination. So the authenticator is going to encrypt the request, send it back with a private key, and once the request reaches the identity provider, and that's where it uses the public key, decrypts it, and only then accepts the request. This is exactly what defines a phishing resistant authenticator. So now, that's where Okta FastPass comes in. Okta FastPass is a phishing resistant and passwordless solution that's available with Okta. What actually it does, along with complying to all the NIST guidelines that are already there, the three properties that I already spoke about, Okta also ensures that this phishing resistant MFA can actually accept any kind of biometric authentication. It could be your fingerprints, Face ID, or even something like a hardware-based factor like YubiKey. And the second one is it also integrates with the device management tools. You might be having Microsoft Intune, or you might be having VMware solution or Jamf. Okta FastPass can actually integrate with all these three. So now, yes, you have integrated with this one, but eventually, you're also going to look out for implementing this passwordless across all the applications within your company. Can you do that? Yes, you can. That's because Okta already has integration with almost 7,600 plus applications that are available out there in the market. So now, let's go ahead and see how does the attack looks like, right? This is how it looks like, Mogambo Kushua already, right? We already saw this without Okta FastPass. With Okta FastPass, how is this going to look? Let's look at the 3 steps. A fake site already delivered to the user. Now the user already entered his username and password. The username and password went to Okta's backend. Now, the Okta widget that is already there on the home page, on the login page, is going to invoke the authenticator on the device. And that's what happens. Okta Verify is going to invoke, the website is going to invoke Okta FastPass. Okta FastPass is going to send the complete device context with headers to Okta's backend. Okta's backend already did the domain verification that we spoke about. And here is where it's going to say, hey, this doesn't look like the signed origin that I have with me, so I'm going to reject it. Now, Okta's backend is going to send a phishing alert back to the user. The authentication fails, and at the same time, it is also going to record this one as part of an event in the phishing logs. Additionally, with Okta, you can also send a notification to the admin. So the admin is aware that, okay, there is a phishing attack that's happening within my company, I might have to run an awareness session, right? And all of this, when all of this happens, Mogambo is not happy, right? Poor guy is crying. So that is how Okta FastPass works. There are other WebAuthn 502 and WebAuthn authenticators that are available. While these are available, how Okta FastPass is better than these? That's because of the couple of points that I already mentioned in the previous slide. Okta FastPass can actually do the device security posture analysis. Okta can look if this specific device is having the updated security patch or not. Is this device rooted? How is this device looking? Is this healthy enough for me to allow this user to even access this application or not? And then this device, Okta FastPass also can integrate with third-party signals. I think we already heard from Nitin how strong CrowdStrike is. Okta FastPass can actually integrate with CrowdStrike, get the signals from CrowdStrike agent that is running on your device, send it back to Okta, so Okta can take a decision based on the risk score that was generated. It's a pretty straightforward, consistent experience across all the platforms. I use Okta Verify day in and day out on my laptop and also on my phone. My phone is Android and my laptop is Mac. It's a pretty consistent experience. And the last one, like I said, because of the orchestrations that we have with workflows, you can run any kind of automation and then trigger alerts or, in fact, maybe send some kind of notifications. Anything that you can do with an automation, you can do it with Okta workflows. And because of this, why Okta FastPass has picked up quite a bit of importance in recent times is because of the assurance levels that any kind of, if there is an authentication request and if there is an authenticator that's being used, what's the level of assurance that it has? And if you look at this, something that I know is basically my password. Something that I have is my possession, is something that I possess, probably like a phone or anything. And the last one is something that I am. It's either a biometric or it could be anything that is related to my biometric or my Face ID, anything related to that, right? And Okta FastPass stands at the end of this assurance levels, giving the highest assurance in the industry. We also extended Okta FastPass to every other capability that we have within Okta. Okta's Identity Threat Protection, which talks to the shared signals framework, which also collects signals from multiple other partners. Okta FastPass can actually leverage those signals and then say, this request is either valid or if this request can be denied based on a certain risk score. We have also extended to Okta Device Access. Basically, our customers use Okta FastPass for passwordless login into their workstations day in and day out. It could be, if you want to use it as an MFA, you're happy to use it, but if you still want to go ahead and then make it completely passwordless for your company, for your employees, you can absolutely do that as well. What this tells is Okta FastPass, or be it any phishing resistant authenticator, is going to help you go through your passwordless journey and achieve that highest level of assurance and still giving a great level of flexibility for your end customers. With that, thank you so much. That's my QR code, not the quiz code, but that's my QR code for LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me. Happy to chat. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Mr. Gagan, for joining us today. I would request you to please remain on stage just a few more minutes. We're going to have the Wheel of Fortune, the second round. I promise you it's a very, very exciting prize this time. So can we have it on the screen? We are going to spin it and we will have Mr. Gagan give away the next prize to our next lucky winner. All eyes on the screen, please. Let's have the Wheel of Fortune on the screen and find out who is the next lucky winner. And here we have the wheel. Let us spin it from the first winner, Mr. Sushant, to the next winner. Let's spin the wheel. Okay, and let's find out who is the next lucky winner. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Anshul Chauhan. Mr. Anshul Chauhan. I like how he stood up and he waved at everyone. Yes, you're the lucky winner. Please join us on stage. Let's give it up for our next winner, everyone. Let's have some more energy in the house. Thank you very much. And we have a very exciting prize coming up for you. Please do come. Can we have the prize on the stage, please? We're going to require 2 people to lift it and bring it for you. So, all right, here we have the prize. Can I request you to please be here since you will be giving it away? You can hand it over to Mr. Gagan. And we have a foot massager for the next winner. I promised you there are going to be exciting prizes. Please do participate in all the contests and all the activities. So we have Mr. Chauhan going home happily with a foot massager. Mr. Gagan is so excited. He's like, congrats, man. This is like, of course. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, we can have it packed for you, and they can keep it with them for now, and we can give it to you. Aapka ye, don't worry, kahin nahi jayega. Okay. So just reminding everybody, booth stamps, your social media contest, and of course the quiz. We're quickly going to have 2 questions on the quiz. So can we have our quiz questions on the screen? Jaldi se, please, you can take your phone out. Be ready for the barcode. It's right over there. Quick 2 questions on your screens. Let's answer them. And right after this, oh, sorry. Sorry. I thought scan कर लिया सबने. Okay, great. तो आपको पता है कि बूथ पे जाना है, स्टैम्प करवाना है, सोशल मीडिया पोस्टिंग करनी है. You can with your phones get up and go for a tea break. Please join us back in the next 20 minutes. We will be continuing with the Wheel of Fortune right after this 20-minute break. Little bit of instruction, जो हॉल में होगा उसको प्राइज मिलेगा, जो हॉल के बाहर होगा. We will skip to the next name so you can all. I love the fact that everyone's so involved in answering your questions. Hello, tea break, everybody. You can go and have a tea break. We will see you in 20 minutes. Thank you.